It's just suddenly...
Or just this unpredictable.
Right. I mean, yeah, Priest was always predictable in the past because the prediction was that you don't ever see Priest because it's bad and no one plays it. But I'm going to trail off from that train of thought very quickly and talk about this Murloc War Leader that is chilling in Epsilon's opening hand.
Okay, play after my own high. Before the expansion, I actually put the Finger package in Hunter, and it was pretty good because it's the Finger package, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
No,
It's
I do,
It's
exactly.
just a good set of cards, and also generates threats for Hunter quite easily through one card. Thins your deck, which again helps Hunter out a lot.
Sure.
So there was, believe it or not, I've tried every single card you can imagine in Hunter, but there was logic behind the Finger pack. I've not seen it since. But hey, Mexico, right? Why not? Let's see what it can do.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's find out. Let's find out if it'll get there or not. The rest of the deck seems fairly conventional. That Barnes, of course, makes sense if you have Finger in your deck, as well as War Leaders that can still be a huge buff to you later on.
An additional charge.
Yep, and then, of course, just the standard cards. Hunter, pretty much since the great purge of Naxxramas removed most of the efficient death rattles from the game.
Still roll a high main, though.
Right, Hunter became basically the death rattle class when they have Kindly Grandmother, they have Infested Wolf, they have Savannah Highmane. They still have all these high-quality death rattles available to them that other classes just don't get to play with anymore since we waved goodbye to all the Haunted Creepers and the Rubian Eggs and Piloted Shredders from the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's got the highest chance of getting a good roll from the Barnes there, but there's still tons of whiffs as well. You can still just get a 1-1, but a lot of the time at least they're beasts, which means you can get some kind of high main kill command advantage as well. But the +4 attack is going to be nice here. Sorry, the +3 making it 4 attack is going to be nice here. Very difficult for the Priest here from Tritek to actually deal with.
It was right up until the point where we drew Power Word Shield that turn. Then it became relatively straightforward.
Yeah, and this is where the questions get asked. I said you're right at the start, if there's a strong clear early on, it can be very, very difficult indeed for the Hunter to crawl back into this game. This animal comp is probably just going to have to be Misha, and it isn't.
There is some weird and interesting clears you could do this turn if you want to. Remember that Pyromancer now has 4 health, so you could heal the Pyro back up, trade into the Leok, and then just Potion of Madness it, and it dies. And your Pyro lives at 1 HP.
That is strange indeed. Is there a... Huh. I actually just prefer Radiant Elemental Shadow Visions. Okay.
Well,
and then you can trade.
It appears Tutek is a fan of the weird and unusual play.
Well, let's see if he finishes it, though.
That's true. It's a fair point. There's no way. I mean, like, you're committing to kill this Leok in some way or the other, because if you don't, then there's a 4/6 on the board next turn if your opponent has Houndmaster, which is
could well lose.
Absolutely crushing against Priest, right?
Yeah. He's going to go into it. There's the potion. It's going to clear it off, as you said, the 1 damage from using this spell. I just feel like the Radiant Elemental, along with the Shadow Visions, 1 gains your additional card, leaves you a Radiant Elemental on the board, and I think you can just get more value out of Potion of Madness than that, to be honest.
I think you can too, yeah. When you're up against a deck that probably plays
Hunter,
Kindly Grandmother for a start, then yeah, Potion of Madness is a very strong card.
Tundra Rhino value. But if you steal enough Priests.
Wait, what? Potion of Madness, the opponent's Tundra Rhino.
If you have Beast in hand as well, that was sick.
Sure.
Okay, well, now this is going to look a little bit more awkward now. Do 3 damage to Stedagon. But not much else.
No, he can just choose to trade in first, put the damage in, Radiant Elemental into double Shadow Vision and try and go off that way. He's going to lose his Pyro no matter what that way.
Yeah, even if you create another Pain and Pain it.
Right.
Why not?
There is no clear this turn that I see this time. Obviously, you can make a similar looking play where you heal up the Pyromancer, trade in, and then try and cast some spells, but that doesn't get there anymore, so I think it's probably just Radiant Elemental turn, although it will be punished a little bit by that same Houndmaster if it is present in hand. It yet again makes another huge 4 damage minion coming down, but at least it would be off curve in this situation for Epsilon.
Yeah, even off curve though, it's extremely powerful, right? Like, it's, potentially even game winning at that point. But I do like the Radiant Elemental. Worst case, you get a Pain and have to play it again. It's actually a pretty reasonable case, and just throw away the damage. Feast.
You can go Priest of the Feast. It's just, this play is fine. Obviously, it's just the curve play on the board. I'm looking from the...
That was the card I was going to start talking about. If there's just a kill command, though, You just get a great trade into the Priest.
That's true. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of there being Orkanai in hand already. Shadow Visions need to get cast at some point to give you those options to dig to Circle of Healing, because that can be a huge blowout for you at some point this game. So that felt like a decent enough turn to do it. Although Radiant Elemental is for sure one of your highest value cards in the deck for being able to do insane things, even in the late game with Lyra if you draw it. It felt like a good opportunity to, give yourself very high percentage chances to grab a Circle of Healing. Then you could almost just afford to sit back for a couple of turns and be comfortable that you could clear.
Yeah, I think as well, because there's at least for turn 5, so you do all the digging beforehand. If you don't get it, you just drop at least. If you do get it, great. There's the awesome card, Lyra.
Is this just an Elise turn, though? Now Radiant Elemental can be played alongside both Shadow Visions, and a 2-mana spell could get played, but I can't think of a 2-mana spell with particular relevance on this board state right now.
Frostbolt. You never said it had to be a free spell.
Touché.
Yeah. Take the victories where I can get them. Yeah, this is now a huge problem, because if you play Elise and there is a kill command around, then you just sort of just get pushed even harder on the turn, because even Priest of Feast still does kind of nothing, and then you give the Hunter here a lot more leeway. Ooh, do you have to just dig Shadow Visions this turn and try and Soul Priest Circle next turn?
I really don't mind Elise. Like, Elise is just very competitive on this board. Yeah, if there's a kill command, but if your opponent kill commands, they're not playing Savannah Highmane on turn 6.
Sure.
And with this hand right now, you really don't want your opponent to play Savannah Highmane on turn 6.
Okay, so we are going to see the Elise. It's like Tutek agrees. Now it's going to be on Epsilon and Team Mexico to work out exactly how they want to respond. They'll be already planning out ideas for how to use this Tundra Rhino going forward, but definitely going to be used with Rat Pack, for example, later on to get that multiple charge of value from the Beast. But for now, need to work out what they want to do on this board. I do just like Kill Command Push. Kill Command Rat, go. Maybe even just Kill Command Hero Power.
Kill Command Rat, just dome him for 8.
Yeah.
With the Priest of the Feast hanging around. I mean, that's the scary part of a play like that, right? Is like you're switching to a damage push and you're leaving Priest of the Feast on the board, which never really feels like you're achieving too much.
Yeah, I just think like the damage push isn't spells outside of the kill command on Elise, which is actually just dealing with a minion.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go in, oh, let's double kill command face and hope, right? You just hit them for 8. They probably don't have a good answer to this board unless they Dragonfire. If they Dragonfire, it's their whole turn, and you can develop even more minions going forward. I think it's fine. I like putting Priest in an awkward spot. Oh, actually looks like it's going to trade instead. Okay. Just leave the 4/5 on the empty board. Reasonable.
Full trades out the Priest of the Feast instead of picking up the value trade instead. The value trade would have left the Stegodon at 2 HP and had the Houndmaster remaining at 3, so they would have been protected against Holy Nova. Dragonfire Potion isn't a concern, because Dragonfire Potion would kill this anyway. I'm a little bit confused about why the value trade didn't happen in that spot. I guess Orkanai Ping would be bad for you. They would take down the 4/2, and you would have a 3/5 less contesting a 4/3 on the board.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Probably just valuing the, even if there was is there any fear at all of a Pyro? I don't think so, because anything Pyro does that deals enough damage to one clears the other anyway.
I think like one Pyro has been used, and you as the hunter are the aggressor in this matchup at this point. So once one of something has been used, as the aggro deck, you probably just shut your eyes and say, okay, if they have the second one, they have the second.
Yeah. Okay, so a lot of time for Poland. We did see Poland have some tight turns last week in terms of timing. And I almost saw MKR actually missed a very in-depth quest rogue turn and missed attacks last week. But now just Lyra being just played onto the board. Why are we not seeing... I mean, I know why, because the hope that Lyra lives, but that hope is a long shot. I would have just preferred to just say, okay, Elemental Shadow Visions, go.
Yeah, this is a higher tempo play, I guess, and you just saw a kill command get used. You've seen one Houndmaster, which would be additional punish, and honestly, Hunter isn't a class that leverages, tempo from off the board too well in general. No! Right? Like, Eaglehorn bows are often now a one-of. You just saw a kill command get used, so the options to actually deal with that board state of just needing that one extra damage, you just saw an Unleash get used as well, which would have done it. So maybe there's just a ton of upside to that kind of board position that Poalnd felt was justified, and we don't really know the full makeup of their priest deck here. They might have, you know, significant win conditions, or they might just feel like survival is enough of a win condition in itself against Hunter that they don't need that Lyra to really go off for them, like we saw it to such great success from Nick Chipper.
Yeah, that's true. We can see the Glimmer Root being drawn now. Cool card. I'm not sure how valuable it actually is. It's just a 3-mana 3/3 draw a card, effectively. Well, draw a card from your opponent's deck, should I say. Ooh, there's Shadow Visions into the Ungoro pack. And a Circle. Circle of Healing, although Ungoro's a ton of value, you've got another chance at it where Circle of Healing does clear this board alongside the Organized Soul Priest as well.
Yeah, I like Circle and I like using it.
I mean, you could Okanai. Oh, you couldn't have Okanai'd Hero Power at that point, actually, so you need to kill that random.
Not after you cast the Shadow Visions, no. And this is just another question, right? When you're up against Hunter, how many times can you continue to keep doing an annoying 1 point of damage over and over again? The question was asked on the previous turn with the Lyra. It's being asked now again with the Orkanai. And the answer, unless Epsilon finds a Bluegill Warrior, as we talked about before, of that Barnes, then this 1 point of damage is not getting dealt.
Definitely a tough one. But it's just a Rat Pack into Houndmaster, which doesn't feel great, to be honest. But also creates an awkward board to deal with yet again. When you've just seen the Circle was used off the from the Shadow Vision, so you know it wasn't just on demand.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have had to Shadow Visions it. Okay. Pyro helps.
So no way to cleanly do 3 to the Houndmaster as of yet. She can, 2 tech can ping and trade through into the Rat Pack, and then go off with Pyro Shadow Visions to clear up those 4 1/1s that will get spawned. But the 4/3 is still irritating in that situation.
There is a risky play where you do this. You Hero Power trade, go Pyro with the Elemental, and then Shadow Vision.
Oh, yeah, right. This is much better. Yeah.
It's just the odds on you drawing a low enough card to play are very, very high here. So it's not super risky, but risky enough. Like, I'm pretty sure there weren't enough spells in the deck that you wouldn't get at least 1 playable card.
Right.
So yeah, this is actually really nice. Completely clears the board due to that second Shadow Visions.
Yep, no, that's a really good spot. Was not looking at this at all, but that is for sure a full clear here.
Another weird Potion of Madness turn.
It does take down his Pyro with it if he wants to go down that line.
Yeah.
He's deciding whether he wants to tempo the Radiant Elemental on the board. He saw that there was no small source of damage to take care of the Orkanai on the previous turn.
Okay, I like this. I mean, your opponent's got 2 cards, 3 in hand, right? Hunter normally at this point actually only has 1, if anything, because they do run out of cards very quickly. Curator. That's a good card for Hunter if you want to fill up your hand.
Yeah, I mean, this just makes sense, right? I expected this to be in here once we saw that
it's a really good draw, I mean.
This was the War Leader, so 1 Hyena, 1... okay, when I said it, I was expecting Curator. I was not expecting Ysera. That one has admittedly caught me by surprise.
Yeah, okay, I'll hold my hands up as well. I like to think of myself as a aficionado, a peddler of Hunter decks. I have not seen this version. I'm not going to lie to anyone. The Murlocs I can get behind. The Ysera, I'm just shocked. You see the Glimmer is going to be the Alley Cat pickup. Maybe. This one, maybe it's not, maybe it's Snipe. If it is, new favorite Hunter deck. Okay, Alley Cat seems most reasonable. And that is such a shame here for Poalnd. That was high, mate. Things change.
They do. And no answer, as of right now, to that Scavenging Hyena, which means it is free to grow over the coming turns. And there is double War Leader in hand as well, which generates 2 4/4s when they're played on the board together. 2 5/4s, sorry, when they're played on the board together, representing a huge amount of damage.
Importantly as well, how does Priest ever kill Ysera?
They don't.
Good answer, yeah. Okay, Ysera, good card versus Priest, confirmed. We just find this out now after 3 years of Ysera being in the set. Yeah, with no Entomb, Dragonfire Potion does nothing. We've already seen 1 Circle. There's another. No Arcanine, though, and that isn't even close enough to do him 12 damage. Wow, this Ysera might just end the game.
Epsilon looks very cheerful about proceedings right now.
No, don't blame her.
Yeah.
I've been pretty cheerful too.
Got a Scavenging Hyena sticking to the board. I've got a 4/6 taunt against Priest. I've got a 6 damage charging Bluegill Warrior in my hand. And most importantly, I have an Ysera.
It sounds like they start to a very bad joke, you know. So there was a Hyena, Curator, and Ysera walked into the bar.
Yeah.
The Priest conceded. Done, there's the joke. Because even now with the Bluegill and War Leaders, this is just absolutely ludicrous at this point.
This is so bizarre because this is just a real option of, hey, let's just control the board and drop Ysera.
Yeah,
and
do it.
that just wins me the game from this point. And look at the face!
Half of them is like, okay, you win this round, you play Ysera. Okay, well, there's a way Ysera can be dealt with.
That is a very good point. 1 Vile Spine Slayer, please. Tortollan Primer.
Oh, please. 2 tech.
Do it.
Do it for science.
Do it.
I've never seen this card go off.
It's actually not quite as catastrophically bad as you might think it is because it's Discover a spell. You know, you get the chance of, like, if Twisting Nether or Doom comes up, you just pick that. Yeah, Master Spell, sweet. Mine.
No.
No.
2 tech. Do it.
You never
Do it.
risk this.
Do it for Poland.
You never.
For your country.
You never risk. Oh, he does. He does.
Oh!
Oh.
Look at Epsilon's face. There was a moment.
Oh, actually, to be fair, Random Tuck, since Master Spell only hits one side of the board, the random target could have targeted back at your side of the board, so it's actually a risk either way in that regard.
Oh, does it work like that?
Yes, it does.
But you can't ever mind control your own minion, right?
No.
So-
Because, like, Noggin Fogger actually allows illegal things to do as well, so I presume that it works in the same way as that.
Okay, well, that would have been pretty impressive overall. To just been nuts. Fair play to you. You've got my respect. And the respect of Poland. Sometimes you just got to go for the glory plays.
How much damage is this even?
A
That
lot.
is 6 damage charging Bluegill alongside the 8 they have. That's 14-19 with the Nightmare. He's 1 damage off, 2 from the hero power. Lethal. Epsilon has 2 extra 2 from the hero power. I believe that is just 21.
GG. What a way to go. You just got beat up by Murloc, Dragon, Beast, Hunter with Ysera. Bit of a celebration there from Epsilon. Very happy to get that first point on the board for Mexico, and things are going downhill for Poland.
The thing down, but yeah, Glacial Shard bouncing can definitely be a way to buy a lot of time and buy some tempo against decks like Zoo. But more often than not, it's just going to be speed of quest that's the impact here to find out. You don't have much time against an aggressive deck. You don't have a great deal of control about how quickly you can activate your quest. You just have to mulligan as hard as you can and just activate the quest as quickly as you can. And that will be what we're looking for here from MKR and Poland.
Yeah, we don't have to buy any more time now, though, because it's going to be the Zoo versus Questrogue starting right now. And it looks like at least the Zoo is off to a reasonable opening. Flame Imp, Voidwalker, even Darkshide Councilman. Rogue doesn't really have an answer to that card at all until they can proc the quest. So that can actually present a huge threat in itself. Gonna mulligan it away. Ooh, okay.
There is a
Fellhound.
bit of a clash there. And one of the reasons why Lakari Fellhound was played with and then almost immediately discarded from these Zoo decks, because pun not intended, you either discard the Fellhound out of your deck or you're going to play your Fellhound and it's going to discard your Doomguard. Those are basically the options. They seem to line up, right? And this is a big issue often with like playing Leroy in the deck. If Leroy came in, you had to cut your Doomguards because they don't play nicely together. One was going to discard the other quite often. So Lakari Fellhound and Doomguard kind of had that same clash going on, and that was probably not the opening mulligan Giannis was looking to see, but that Fellhound probably just gets treated as a sacrificial lamb this game. With the aggressive start with the Flame Imps, he'll probably just look to follow up with Doomguard and not run the risk of being dropped by the Fellhound later on.
Yeah, I could see him just waving to the camera there, just saying hello to, no doubt, his legion of fans. They're going to be watching him here, no doubt. Gonna see, is the Battlefin version. It's like Team Mexico have just had enough. I'm joking, of course, he's back. Flame Imp. It's maybe going grabbing a quick drink or something. Ill-timed. But Imp into coin. Yeah, seems pretty good.
Hold on, let me just coin these Flame Imps real quick. I'll be right back. All right, chill.
Someone's at the door.
I think that's actually what it was, more than likely, yeah.
Oh, he's, Mom, I can't pause the game. I'm playing in Hearthstone global games. It's important.
I'm trying to Flame Imp this fall, okay?
Yeah. Often tied on it, it's going to come down as more of a defensive measure, but with the second one available, this means it can be bounced going forward, but very limited options now from MKR in terms of the following turns.
Double Voidwalker. This is one of the glowing, shining star uses of this. The Voidwalker as a card. It's not an aggressive card, but just small, annoying taunts are wonderful in the sense that it allows more aggressive minions like Flame Imps to just get repetitive damage while your opponents are forced to chew through these Voidwalkers. This is the inverse of the situation we talked about when we were casting the Quest Warrior Mirror. They cannot play combat tricks with taunt minions because almost all of their minions have taunt, whereas this is exactly the power of doing that kind of thing in a matchup where you really want those Flame Imps sticking around and hitting face over and over.
Yeah, and we cannot... Ooh, okay, Shadow Step helps out here, but you can see from MK's reaction, no doubt you can just... I can guess what he's saying to the team. He's like, okay, guys, we might just lose this one because this opening is absolutely horrendous, especially because we can see Lakari Fellhound coming up in a turn or so.
I don't think Fellhound's getting played.
You think you skip Fellhound here and go aggro?
Right. I think like Doomguard coming out as a finisher is just way too important.
Okay. I mean, it depends on the draws, of course.
It does, yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I was just thinking, like, well, he ain't getting through Fellhound anytime soon, so we can actually stack up the damage quite a lot.
Yeah, Fellhound just doesn't kill you, though. Like, it only has 3 attack, whereas Doomguard gets attack on the turn that it plays. So in the time that Fellhound deals 3 damage, Doomguard deals 10.
Not true.
What?
The time Fellhound deals 6, Doomguard deals 5, because you get out a turn earlier. How about that?
All right.
You know what I mean? You can.
Well, no, it deals 3 because it's still in the attack 1.
Oh, yeah.
In that meantime, yeah.
Whatever. But most importantly, it could be used to defend these Flame Imps.
Yes.
Because you could actually just win off the back of these Flame Imps.
That's true. That is true too, yeah.
I think, it does depend on what's drawn, of course, but I wouldn't even mind it here because these Flame Imps are mortal at this point. As you said, lack of fan of knives more often than not means they can't really be touched.
Well, I mean, either way, he's looking for a play to fill out turn 3. Knife Juggler seems to do that quite nicely. And we will see whether he feels like the Fellhound is enough just to get the job done here. But MKR on his side just frantically scrambling to get this quest done, and in the meantime just taking an absolute beat down from the double Flame Imp opener.
Silverware Golem could change could make the Fellhound play work as well if that's the next draw.
That's an excellent point.
You just play another minion as well. 2 minions for 1, then they do 6 in the time Doomguard does 5. But yeah, there's a lot of options here. But as you said, at the end of the day, Doomguard is just 5 from hand that the rogue cannot interact with at all. So we'll see what goes on here. 2 Biofin still available. Patches, not the draw MKR is looking for. But that's going to be number 3. Number 4 is available along with the prep into the quest proc. So
and charging Patches alongside it next turn as well.
Yeah.
He can go Tidehunter, Prep, Quest, and Patches on the following turn. It means if his next draw is a Pirate, that will be an incredibly frustrating Patches draw.
Very much so. And now is the time. Is it going to be Fellhound? Oh, it's going to be Tap. Okay.
Nice. Getting an extra 1-drop there is actually a really nice roll for him off the life tap, because now the extra knives, the extra power on board of being able to develop multiple minions. He's going to get a Flame Elemental in his hand that's probably just going to end up getting dumped to the Doomguard, but nonetheless, just having the extra 1-2 on the board makes a big difference.
I'm really interested about this Fellhound. You know the quest's happening next turn.
No, you don't.
More than likely you do, right?
He needs to have a prep to make the quest happen next turn.
Yeah, okay, you know the quest is being live next turn because the Biofin wouldn't have been live.
Yeah, the quest itself is being completed, yes.
Just wondering how much damage, because the problem now is if you've got any fear at all of the quest happening, then you could have just dropped Fellhound and then just continued pushing. Oh my god, that snipe was sick. But you could have continued pushing and not bothered about the minions. And as it is, it looks like MK's been left with 1 on the board.
Oh, there is a backstab.
Oh, okay.
That is enormous. Now that is a 5-5 taunt, a charging 5-5, and a backstab on the Flame Imp. That is so big. Mexico now are all repeating the same thing to themselves over and over again. Please no prep. Please no prep. Spoilers, there's a prep.
Yeah, and this changes absolutely everything. The 5-5 taunt on the board as well. You can see the value of a Biofin here. Just the bounces and the taunts holding off. I'd like to see how much damage the Biofin taunts actually soaked up this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, well, probably like, what, 4 damage?
Quite possibly, yeah. They've been efficiently dealt with every time, I think, by either the Voidwalker or the
Flame
Knife.
Imp killed one, right?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So that's like, what, 5?
It's at least 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's actually nuts. Okay, so we're going to see where the 5/5 goes into here. You'd have to imagine the Flame Imp.
But you still have the dagger attack, right? So you don't necessarily need to kill the Flame Imp with the 5/5. You could kill it with your face if you're feeling ambitious, but I kind of like doing it the other way around myself.
Would you kill the Juggler with your face and then kill the Flame Imp?
No. Doing it. Wow, okay.
Ooh, why would he do it that way?
Because he's not scared of dying on 5 mana, and he has a pretty clean lethal setup if
But
there's
what's
a
the
life
difference
tap.
between 3 health and 2 health?
I mean, I don't know. Well, okay, so if there's Doomguard and he left it at 2 health, he could Doomguard and double trade these 2 1/1s into the remaining 2 health.
Okay, sure.
Whereas this way, he keeps an extra 5/3 on the board against Doomguard.
Oh, well. Here comes the decision. Now, what is this draw? Igneous Elemental, extremely slow. Even the Death Rattle's super slow.
Yep.
He's going to have to hit trade here. Gonna full trade. I think you actually go face here. Power of Whelming isn't a card anymore. Abusive Sergeant is only +2.
You lose.
You need to kill him at some point.
Yeah. You
If you go face and dagger, you can dagger up and go face with these 3 next turn and win.
Mhm.
And that just solves it for me. You have to just go for the lethal.
I agree. Like, what does killing the 1/1 even really
That's what
play
I mean.
around?
Like, Power Overwhelming into, Power Overwhelming Doomguard doesn't exist. Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Abusive Sergeant Doomguard would
Is
kill
it?
you
Yeah.
if you don't full trade.
But also, you had to not discard the Doomguard or the Abusive
Sergeant,
Sergeant the
yeah.
previous turn, which
Right.
is...
And
come
most
on.
importantly, if you don't go face, you give your opponent an entire extra turn to draw those kind of runner outs that we're talking
Exactly.
about right now. So face just seems an awful lot cleaner to me.
Now, is there anything that Eunice can even draw here?
Abusive Sergeant Doomguard.
Well, that's the Abusive... No, Eunice.
Oh no, don't do it.
Please.
He's in a losing position anyway, so if he disconnects at this point.
Yeah, MKR has actually won. I believe there's no tap that even... Okay, tap into Argus keeps him alive.
Keeps him alive, but the game's over.
But yeah, I don't believe there's anything that can be drawn. Oh, there's a life tap, so Eunice is sentient at this point. But it's not going to be enough.
Well, he is still technically alive. He can still Councilman, Abusive Sergeant, trade in, and he is alive on board. So he does need to continue fighting, but this board state is just immediately dominated by the board state of MKR right now. That 1 card in hand is a Flame Elemental. MKR is well aware that it is a Flame Elemental, so he knows, for example, that he can't die to things like Runner, Abusive Doomguard. There wasn't enough mana to tap and put that together on the previous turn. And MKR is convinced that he's got this in the bag, and now Soulfire, tap,
Leroy up the
Soulfire.
top.
That is a Doomguard.
Oh, wow.
That is 1 off. Not enough mana to life tap into anything to play along with it. It would have had to be Soulfire, tap Soulfire, or a Leroy, which was unlikely to be in the deck. Look at that. So very
I wouldn't have even tapped. I wouldn't have even tapped.
You just don't want to know.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Because that 1 mana extra.
Look at MKR's face.
What have you got? It would have been hilarious if like Leroy was just ripped out of nowhere. 1 Doomguard, 1 Leroy and Zoo. He's like, okay, I guess I lose. Absolutely crazy indeed. There is no out here, as even with killing off 1 of these minions is not enough. Who dares summon me? It's called the Losing Warlock. As he puts him to 120 damage available. MKR victorious. Wearing a BlizzCon shirt. They're one from this year as well.
Oh, very true.
Absolutely victorious. Okay, I know we both played a lot of these decks. How do you feel about this matchup? Because it's one you've probably ran into a lot.
It really depends on, your late game tech decisions. A Vine Cleaver in the deck just on its own can be game winning because of the amount of value that it generates. The pulls that you get from your Stonehill defenders as the Paladin can be absolutely massive. But it looks like from the Mexican side here, there's just a few more controlling options going on. The Dirty Rat and the Ivory Knight, both very defensive cards, not the kind of things you want against the Taunt Warrior, where you'd much rather be packing just more offensive powerhouse. You know, Vine Cleaver in itself is 12 damage, plus 6 tokens that then get buffed up by your second and third Sunkeeper Tarim that you've got from your Stonehill defenders. Those are more of the tech choices that you want to be having in this matchup. And Dirty Rat, Ivory Knight, not so much.
No, Dirty Rat could be nice to, you know, deny taunt.
Yes.
A lot of the time you do plan to have board controllers piled in, so you can trade into those taunts as well. And then Ivory Knight might be nice for equality, just some raw damage to try and blast through a taunt, something along those lines, but maybe even a humility as well could help. But yeah, I agree in general. I think the list is pretty reasonable, but with Tyrion and Tarim available this early, you really want to start pressuring the Warrior right now with one of the Murlocs openings. I mean, basically, Empan needs to just speak to Kalento and ask how he did what he did earlier and just get that Murloc start, get the Mega Saw, and just pressure the Warrior so hard that the taunts like Stonehill Defender, although high value, do nothing to combat the board.
Yeah, it just doesn't really have that kind of pressure going on for him right now. And very, very slow. Rockpool Hunter in hand, but no Murloc to tempo out with. And since that Fiery War Axe has been shown from Blackfire, there's just no real benefit of playing anything into this and choosing not even to hero power because it has no upside for him right now, but it does have the downside of coming up against an Acolyte of Pain.
You already shouldn't, though. Play Dirty Rat.
Don't. Don't. I don't want to hear it, Raven.
I don't care what you want to hear, son. About what I want to say. Yeah, would have got some value out of the deck though, but I'm just gonna push this to wind you up. Going for the Ali Armorsmith just to even out the curve here. Can Stonehill Defender next turn into potentially a 4-drop to make that very, very smooth indeed. Only having the 6 slot to be able to fill in for a very smooth curve.
Look at how much of a dilemma this Fiery War Axe is causing. Just such a horrible card when you're any kind of board development deck to try and, you know, especially when it's shown preemptively like this, you know you have to chew through it eventually. So you're trying to, you know, decide, well, how do I make this happen where the Fiery War Axe gets an amount of value that I'm happy with? And Rockpool Hunter, War Leader in hand, those aren't minions that you're particularly happy with your opponent just War Axing down.
And something that's been very interesting as the meta's developed as well is that even with Warrior and Paladin being so dominant, we've not seen weapon removal, really.
No.
I've seen like the odd deck that runs Gluttonous Ooze. But that's like, I've seen that in like 1 to 2 lists in the past 2 weeks. Like, you're just not seeing anyone run weapon removal when, you know, pre-expansion, weapon removal, sometimes you ran 2, but not seeing any. So these War Axes, maybe the issue is there is only War Axe, so Furious doesn't really matter too much. But Paladin's normally double True Silver Tyrion. At least 1 Tyrion as well, sometimes 3.
I think, you know, pre-expansion there was probably twice to 3 times the combined amount of Pirate Warrior and Shaman than you now play against Paladin and Quest Warrior. You know, the meta is more diverse now, and yes, these are 2 of the strongest decks, but you're not queuing into them every other game. Yeah. There is, you know, other stuff going on around the ladder. A lot of people still experimenting with new stuff.
Okay, so the second Stonehill's gone for the Cornered Sentry there, and again, I think this is the strategy of, I actually just want a cheap taunt as opposed to anything more expensive to be able to squeeze in a turn. Stonehill Defender is an option now for Team Mexico, but is it good enough? Is this ever a War Leader Rock turn?
Should I?
War Leader, coin, rock pool, and buff it up to a 4/4. I mean, it still gets taken down by the War Axe. It just gets to take a 1/3 with it. It's still not fantastic. But as I said, at some point, this War Axe is getting value against you. You can't stop it happening unless you are playing Weapon Destruction in your deck and your plan is do nothing until that happens. But I think this Coin Elise is probably just a more justifiable play overall.
Just put some value into the deck in the form of the Ungoro pack. But yeah, this means that on board there has to be double trade and War Axe. So you imagine the War Axe is probably going to be skipped. But to be fair, do you want to play Ali Armorsmith into an Elise and not kill the Elise?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. Like, you know, what does pushing 2 to face do really in this situation? Your goal as Quest Warrior is laid out for you. There's a little exclamation mark above your head that you can check if you've forgotten what your job is in this matchup. You are just supposed to play taunts. Pushing face damage right now doesn't really get you anywhere. Just control the board state, play your taunts. and eventually you're going to get there. So Ali Armorsmith and triple trade looks absolutely fine to me.
Yeah, Blackfire Ice and Team Poland did have the opportunity, or at least have the plan going forward of Cornered Sentry into Whirlwind, but suddenly turn 7 Cornered Sentry into Brawl is looking quite reasonable to me. If even required, but, you know, it's there.
No, I mean, I guess this is fine. I see no real issue with this. It's a little bit greedy just for the sake of pushing 2 damage. It's a little bit more than that because you do get to preserve those small minions that are around over the course of the game if the Elise is forced to go into the Ali Armorsmith. It means that those 1-4 and 1-3, they're very, very useful to shut down just the small tokens on Paladin's board.
Yeah. Also as well, because the coin was used last turn, there's no chance of Equality Coin Consecrate to then punish with an extra 5 damage to face. Noble Sack, Redemption, Eye for an Eye. Kind of awkward. Redemption's way more difficult to get off than Kodo, and not as much value.
Yes.
Because you can't actually replay the minion with Battle Cries. It's mainly Tyrion you want to Redemption. So, you know, Eye for an Eye does not great versus Control Warrior either.
Eye for an Eye, I've actually had a little bit of success in this matchup with Eye for an Eye, but it only really works when you get ahead in the early game. So you get to pressure the life total, you get to lower them to a significant point, and then once they actually climb back into the game and actually get that Sulfuras off, in the late game,
You could just do 8.
you're in a position where you've got them below 8, and then, you know, there's something that they're almost willing to do against Paladin, because Paladin isn't exactly famous for burst damage,
Yeah.
so they allow themselves to drop low, and they forget that you've had that secret the entire time, and you just Eye for an Eye. You can never lose, because any time a die insect hits you in the face, it just ends the game.
Okay, so options for Blackfire Ice here. Bear in mind, if he wins this is going to be the match for Poland. Can just go for the second Ali Armorsmith. Can go for Dirty Rat and Cornered Sentry, but doesn't really do too much. There could be Dirty Rat, Cornered Sentry, Whirlwind. The Ali Armorsmith can trade into the 2-3. The weapon can clear up the Hydrologist, and the Elise dies from the Whirlwind anyway, and it gets you 2 taunts. You skip the Rat. Save the Rat for Brawl next turn.
Yep. Seems like the most likely line to me, because, yeah, I mean, great, you're whirlwinding, which is fantastic, but if you are playing Dirty Rat and you pull a huge minion like, you know, Tyrion, Rag, Light Lord, etc., what's a whirlwind going to do in that case? So saving it until you're activating a Brawl at some point, which is almost never going to be next turn when you're this far ahead on board, but still, that combination works perfectly. If you need to Brawl, you need to Brawl, otherwise you're just happy developing along the Curator lines.
Yeah, interesting point there as well, where there was the trade the opposite way around in terms of Blackfire chose to take 1 extra damage to himself, then put his Armorsmith to 3. I wonder what the thought about that is, just because I can, and you keep the Ali Armorsmith higher, but what dies to 3 that doesn't die to 4 anyway?
That's a good question. Hammer of Wrath off Ivory Knight, I don't know, like weird worlds that you get into. I mean, when
it is minuscule, right?
Right.
I'm nitpicking here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's kind of just default play, right? Like when you are learning to play Hearthstone, you learn as a general rule that you should take more damage to your hero and preserve more health on your minions. So. There's also just some 3-attack minions in the deck, right? Like if War Leader comes down, maybe you trade into War Leader, maybe you trade into Outdoor Peacekeeper.
Ooh, and that's the value of Getaway Kodo. Did pick it off the Ivory Knight, only going to heal for 1. Not that he needed to heal, but there were some other options there. But Getaway Kodo is just so powerful with cards like Tarim, Tyrion, Stonehill, for example. Getting to play them multiple times is actually insane.
What now?
Tempo Shield Slam, go.
I don't really see the need. This game isn't too much about your board state at the moment. I would just go with Curator here, because if the Ivory Knight does the likely thing of trading into the Ali Armorsmith here, then it's left at 2 health. This Curator draws you a Primordial Drake as your Dragon draw, and then that cleans up the 2 HP nicely. But this time, he's actually choosing to go for the double trade when he turned that option down in the early game with the Stonehill defenders.
Interesting, interesting. Maybe more likely for Equality Conk to clear off the board and preserve minions on the Mexico side.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
We're getting quite late into the game at this point, and there's been 0 Consecrates or Equalities used so far. So, is a chance that just to let's just make the board a little bit smaller. It's not like Blackfire is even close to running out of resources, especially because that Curator, as you said, and he's on now. Is it 6 out of 7?
I think it's 5.
5 out of 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too far away. Can easily proc those on the next turn or so. Doesn't even need to do right. He can just play 2 5-drops, can just play the Drake. Doesn't even matter. There's no rush when he's this far ahead, I feel.
Grime Street Protector, the only Paladin card offered, not the greatest of outcomes from Stonehill Defender. Grime Street Protector is a great card, don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic card when you get it for free. But
Also, it's very good versus the Warrior Hero Power.
Yes, it is. But the expectations of Stonehill Protector are just so high that
If it's not got a legendary border, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in 3 of the Paladin, well, 3 of the Paladin legendaries actually are just taunts at this point. So Stonehill becomes incredibly good. Just gotta drop down some Murlocs now just to get some semblance of a board.
So Curator into the 1/4, Cornered Sentry into the Vilefin, Stonehill into the War Leader, Primordial Drake.
Sure.
That seems relatively efficient to me.
And the more you can do trades like this and get this kind of value, the more powerful Brawl becomes because you can emergency Brawl late game. Oh, not. Okay. It's going to be 6 for the quest. Blackfire Ice can get the quest live next turn easily, and also with the addition of Ali Armorsmith can actually... Oh, sorry, that won't work. But can actually Dirty Rat, play the weapon, and do the hero power next turn.
You just want a Dirty Rat every turn, don't you?
I mean, no, come on, that's actually a pretty logical thing.
It's fairly solid, yeah.
You already have a board, you have a weapons trade into one of the minions that comes out, all the hero power, all the minions you've already got.
Right. It still feels a little bit of an unnecessary risk. Like, okay, if your opponent plays Tyrion this turn, that play's probably reasonable. But even in that play on the following turn, like Dirty Rat coming down and just pulling a huge minion, it still just feels like a risk you don't necessarily need to take in this spot.
With Brawl. And there's enough armor for Shield Slam as well.
It's fair.
Just gives you options of getting those 8 damage going. Because I feel like if Paladin gets the time, even post Warrior Quest being completed, they can create enough stuff to almost negate the hero power.
No, that's absolutely fair.
If you can get going, you need to get going.
It is for sure one of the most awkward classes to deal with, if you can call anything awkward when you deal 8 damage for 2 mana every turn. But yeah, the fact they can generate 1/1s on the board, they have some small early game things that they can drop
potential
down.
for Light Lord, which negates 1 hero power to face to a certain extent. Yeah. Oh, but here comes Tyrion, though. I mean, now there's just an easy just go in with the Acolyte and shield slam it.
He can even, yeah, he can...
Drake first.
Yeah, he can Drake to finish the quest and then shield slam the Tyrion and trade the remainder of the Acolyte into the 1/1 to finish that off as well.
Yeah. Get
double draws off the Acolyte immediately, finish the quest, set himself up for next turn while clearing the Tyrion off the board and gaining tempo at the same time.
Good turn.
Yeah, there are turns, some turns where the greatest compliment that I can give to a deck doing something powerful is that almost feels as good as a good patron turn.
Yeah, that was clean, very, very nice indeed. So much value as well. And again, at this point, Blackfire is probably not even too bothered to see an equality clear of some kind. It's like, yeah, you spend your mana.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get you. As well, the Armsmith going to come down, the Ali Armsmith, sorry, is going to mean that it kind of just probably soaks a Ashbringer hit, which means that, yeah, you negate the damage, you actually gain additional armor, and you're not just straight up 15 to the face.
Should I?
Tareem for Mexico is one of the few answers he's going to have when he's this far behind on board, but when you're scrambling for answers just to the existing board state against Quest Warrior, that's when you know you're in trouble. You're supposed to be ahead. You're supposed to be pushing through these inefficient taunt minions with your superior minions, but that exactly. That's what I was getting to in the end is that War Axe in the early game just stopped any kind of board development from Empan, whatever we're ending up calling him. Empan, or just Emp. I like Emp.
Okay. Emp. New name.
Empanizado.
Yep. This is a play of pure desperation at this point. He's doing this. This means the Kodo. Oh, we didn't. Was it Redemption? Was it Redemption he's equipped?
Yes, I believe
so. This means that the Abomination. This is a cool, cute thing you can do with Redemption with a Death Rattle like this. So it's forced to kill, deal 2 damage. Then the Abomination will be redeemed, come back onto the board, and deal another 2 to clear the board. But deals 4 damage to Emp's face as well, and suddenly that's 2 rag shots away from ending the game.
Oh!
Okay, so now we can get around this by killing Tarim.
Yes, that's basically what he was looking for there, is there are some high-value taunt minions that he could be trading into, and that, again, this is given that Quest Warrior effect, where when all minions have taunt, none of them do. Now he can get some value out of these minions that were going to die anyway by just trading through the Tarim. He's actually going to execute it here.
Interesting.
And now pushing through 11 damage, 8 more plus the hero power. The board will be clear. This is actually just lethal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got him. Very, very nice play there. Just navigating that, understanding exactly what could have happened if the outcome there.
And a cheer just went up from the production office as Poalnd